We have all worried from time to time, but by the time that Nyle Bosier had entered into high school, he was a full-blown worrywart. In fact, his doctor had warned him that if he didn't stop worrying, he was going to have ulcers by the time that he finished high school. Right now, I want you to meet Nyle, the former worrywart. Now, Nyle, tell us what happened in your life. What changed?
Well, actually, I joined the Air Force, John, in 1968, and shortly after I joined the Air Force, it gave me an opportunity to start going to church again. I hadn't been attending church since I was 5 years old, so needless to say, I started learning about what Christ was all about, and I even had an opportunity to be involved in taking some youth groups on retreats. And you know, when they told me about how awesome it was that Christ and what He had done for them, it just gave me that opportunity to say, I think I want that in my life. My focus was then not on the worrying about things, but going to Him and asking in prayer, you know, what could He do to help me through that process?
And so would you say, Nyle, that this shift in your life from worry to peace is a proof positive that Jesus is real and that what He's done in your life is absolutely true?
Yes, I would say that is absolutely true. In 1969, Judy and I had just gotten married, and our wedding present was my trip to Vietnam. When I left for Vietnam, and you could tell almost immediately that when we were in the air off the ground that the plane was in trouble. The pilot would throttle up and then throttle back, and the ailerons and the flaps weren't going anywhere, and so we see the stewardess kind of walk her way up to the cockpit, but when she came out of the cockpit, she was running and she was crying and saying, "We're going to crash." The guy that was sitting next to me, he'd peek up and he'd say, "Hey, Bo, look at the trees down there. We just filled up with fuel. You ever hear of one of these going down and anybody coming out alive?" And I said, "Mike, just put your head down and be quiet, okay?" But it was one of those things that I can truly say that I felt a peace about where I was. I was not fearful of dying because I knew that if I did die that day, I would be in heaven.
Perhaps a lot of people don't know you, Nyle, as I know you and Judy. You certainly have had opportunity to not be at peace since this time, perhaps even a very dramatic opportunity to not be at peace. And yet, can you honestly say that God has given you a peace even in the midst of some of the great, maybe you would share some of that with our viewers here today.
Yes. In 1986, Judy and I were involved in a car accident, and it broke her back and paralyzed her. And so for the last 29 years, she's been in a wheelchair. But I remember being in the hospital with her and being concerned. I wasn't worried, but I was concerned about her. And I remember reading in Philippians where Paul said that, that he forgot the past, and that gave me the opportunity to seek for myself when I was asking God, just let us go back and be the way we were. I then said, well, okay, if Paul could say, forgetting the past and straining towards what God has in store for you through Jesus Christ, that gave me that peace to stop thinking about what was behind me, what life was like before the accident, and then straining towards what God had prepared for us in our future.
You know, there's all kinds of people who will talk about how to have peace, and they'll go on and on and on. And yet, through the Prince of Peace, we can have it. Actually, we can have it. Jesus said, "Let not your heart be troubled." In this world, we will have trouble, right? But He said, "I have given you peace, peace that passes all understanding." And so that's the testimony of your life, isn't it, Nyle?
Indeed it is.
Amen. God bless you.